A recent MLB statistic suggests that the Baltimore Orioles franchise is on the rise. And now, under new ownership, this team is finally moving in the right direction. Welcome to Orioles Digest. I'm your host, Kam Brice, and thank you for joining me once again. But before you do anything, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. We're over 1,000 subscribers. Let's keep pushing it. Can we get to 2,000? Let's go. Join Orioles Digest. I'm give you daily updates about the Baltimore Orioles that you don't want to miss. Coming to this offseason, a lot of fans were questioning, what will the Baltimore Orioles do? Will they get a starting pitcher? Will they get an ace? Will they increase the payroll? A lot of comments and questions were surrounding about the Baltimore Orioles all off season. But one thing they did do is increase the payroll. Now, before I get into the future of the team, I want to talk about the changes David Rubenstein has done since becoming the Orioles owner. First, he took over ownership in 2024. Second, upgraded Camden Yards, brought down food prices, brought the wall back in. He's doing more things, making parking more availability. He's doing everything he can do to make this franchise look better on the outside. And three, the expanded payroll. And I'm going to take a deep dive into the payroll right now. This offseason was very important for the Baltimore Orioles, and they expanded the payroll by a major percentage. So Ken Rosenthal put out an article yesterday detailing how MLB teams have expanded their payroll over the last couple of years. In this past season, the Baltimore Orioles are up 56%. I know a lot of people is going to be like, well, they signed Tyler O'Neill, they signed Charlie Morton, they got Sagano. These are all 1 year deals. But they finally are spending the money. This is what we've been questioning all offseason, the past seasons. We've been saying the Baltimore's have to spend money. And now they've spent money. Now checking in my notes, the Baltimore's had a payroll of 45 million in 2022. That was the start of their young franchise. That's when young players were starting to get ready. They weren't really a playoff caliber team yet. Even though they were a very good team, they weren't the team that they are today. In 2023, we saw a major jump, 68 million. It was like the Baltimore's are finally spending money in the right places and they have World Series hopes. After a disappointing 2023 season in the playoffs, the Baltimore's bounced back. In 2024, they had a $109 million payroll. Now, they didn't sign a lot of big deals, but they made key free agent deals to help them in 2024, in which helped them to the playoffs once again, but they were disappointed by the offensive lack of production in the postseason once again. Now, in 2025, the projected payroll is $155 million. David Rubenstein and his ownership team has done a tremendous job of turning this franchise around. Let's not forget, a couple of years ago, John Angelos had thoughts of moving the Baltimore Orioles to Tennessee. Tennessee? You want to move one of the best parks in America, destruct it, and move the Orioles to Tennessee? The MLB was not going to allow it to happen. So I'm glad that David Rubenstein took over and be like, hey, I'm a Baltimore native. I live and die for the Baltimore Orioles. So I'm going to do everything in my power to change the perception of this franchise, and which he's doing. It's not completely turned around, but they're doing a great job. Now, if you just look at the payroll, 2022, $45 million. That was ranked dead last in the MLB behind the Oakland Athletics. Guys, really? John Angelos was spending less money than the Oakland Athletics, and the Baltimore's were a way more talented team. So it's just saying you go from 45 million a couple years ago to now 155 million. David Rubenstein is doing everything in his power to make this team better, and the Baltimore's are on a right trajectory. So only time is going to tell, but David Rubenstein has done a good job for right now. We're going to talk about the future of the team and the Baltimore's franchise as a whole. Now, I know a lot of people are skeptic that David Rubenstein and Mike Elias have not signed an ace to a 6 or 7 year deal, missed out on Max Fried, Blake Snell, didn't re-sign Corbin Burns, missed out on Jack Flaherty, and you missed out on every potential ace. But they went out and got Charlie Morton. Now, I wasn't a fan of the signing when they signed Charlie Morton, but as the weeks went on, the days went on, as the days got longer, I thought to myself, this is a good situation for the short term run. Because if Grayson Rodriguez has a breakout season this year, the Baltimore's don't need an ace. You get Kyle Bradish back, and imagine next year, Zach Eflin, Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, Cade Povich. You have a dominant 1 through 4, and I expect Cade to have a breakout year this season. And let's not forget about the offensive talent. Samuel Basallo is going to be up sometime this MLB season. Kobe Mayo, I expect him to be very good this season. What David Rubenstein has done in a year as the Baltimore's owner, he's developed this franchise. He's said something in the public, and he's went out and did it. If it's not days or weeks or months after he said it, he's done it. He increased Camden Yards. He brought the wall back in. And that was a key thing. A lot of people were upset. A lot of players were upset. The wall was too far and they're losing production. So what did David Rubenstein do? New construction, got the wall pushed back in, and now we're going to see the offensive productions go up in 2025. So I think the future is very bright for the Baltimore Orioles. They're in a very good spot. They just have to keep building. You want to keep building a championship team, and that all starts with extending your young players, especially when you have Gunnar Henderson, who's under Scott Boras, and Adley Rutschman is not under the same agency, but it's kind of hard when you have an all-star generational type catcher who's going to demand a lot of money. So the Baltimore's going to push all their money on Adley Rutschman or wait to see what Samuel Basil can become in the future. I expect big things for the Baltimore Orioles, but I'm happy David Rubenstein took over his ownership, and it's been one of the great things I've ever experienced in my lifetime. We're going to take a deep dive into spring training. I'm going to talk about all the positions and what it can mean in 2025. Now, in a recent article that Ken Rosenthal posted yesterday, he talked about the Baltimore's outfield depth. O'Neill and Loriano are right-handed hitters. Cedric Mullins, Colton Cowser, and Kerstad bat left. So the Baltimore Orioles are going to set up O'Neill, Mullins, and Cowser as the primary three outfielders. We already know that right now. And then with Kerstad getting a lot of opportunities against right-handed pitchers, he could possibly be a DH sometimes. He could be off the bench. You bring him as a pinch hitter. He could also start. So Heston Kerstad is going to have way more opportunities than he's ever had in the MLB. And I expect him to play well over 90 games this season. Let's also talk about Jorge Mateo, because remember, before he got hurt a couple years ago, Jorge Mateo was used in the center field position. He was used in the outfield because the Baltimore's knew the depth they had in the infield. They didn't want to take Jorge Mateo completely out the lineup, and it worked for him in the outfield. So if you move Jorge Mateo to the outfield, that crowds this room even more because you know Brandon Hyde loves Jorge Mateo, especially March and April. Jorge Mateo is going to start every day. He's going to produce. He's going to look like one of the best players in baseball. Then he's going to have a major drop off. But my question to you guys is, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments, what do you want your outfield to look like in 2025? Now that we talked a little about the outfield, I want to talk about the infield. I expect it to be Ryan Mountcastle at first base. Second base, you have Jackson Holliday. Third base, Jordan Westburg. Shortstop, Gunnar Henderson. And catching, you have Adley Rutschman. Now that could change. Jorge Mateo could also play second or short sometimes, and Gunnar Henderson could possibly move to third. You put Westburg at second when Holliday is having an off day or you want need him to rest. And then Kobe Mayo could possibly be at first. He could possibly be in that DH position. That's another thing I want to talk about. The DH position. Who do you put in the DH position? Because you have options. Kobe Mayo, Ryan O'Hearn, and Heston Kjerstad. There are going to be a lot of opportunities for this team. A lot of players are fighting for spots. And spring training is going to be the time where we see majority of these players and what their positions will be in 2025. It's a young team, a lot of players with a lot of depth. So let's be excited for the season because the Baltimore Orioles will be successful once again this year. So over the next couple of days, me and John will host an Orioles Digest live stream on YouTube. Turn on post notifications on. You don't want to miss it. We're going to give you our spring training thoughts, our predictions for the 2025 season, and more. So come join in the chat, listen to us, give your feedback, and come join Orioles Digest. And also, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We're giving you daily updates about the Baltimore's that you don't want to miss. From Orioles Digest, I'm Kam Brice.